Imagine a time when Christianity was a fledgling faith, struggling to find its footing in a Roman world. This was the cradle of the papacy, an institution that would grow to become an unparalleled force in world history. The genesis of the papacy is intricately linked with St. Peter, recognized as the first pope. He was a humble fisherman, handpicked by Jesus Christ himself to shepherd his flock. This divine appointment would lay the groundwork for a line of spiritual successors, leading the faithful from the heart of the Roman Empire. With the passing of St. Peter, Rome was established as the spiritual capital of Christianity. This was not a random choice, but a strategic one. Rome, the city of the Caesars, became the city of the popes, a beacon of faith in a world often clouded by uncertainty and strife. And thus the stage was set for the rise of one of the most influential institutions in world history, the papacy. As the Roman Empire crumbled, a new power rose in the West. The Middle Ages, a time of turmoil and transformation, was also an era of increasing power and influence for the papacy. As the Church filled the vacuum left by the fading Roman Empire, the role of the Pope took on new dimensions and significance. Popes were no longer mere spiritual leaders. They became pivotal political figures, wielding immense influence over the kingdoms and principalities of Europe. This was a time when men like Pope Gregory VII, with his audacious reforms, dared to challenge the authority of kings and emperors, asserting the supremacy of the Church over secular rulers. We must not forget the East-West Schism of 1054, a major event that split Christianity into Eastern Orthodoxy and Roman Catholicism. This separation was largely due to disagreements over the Pope's authority, and it forever altered the religious and political landscape of Europe and beyond. Then there were the Crusades, those bloody and complex religious wars that forever marked this period. Initiated by Pope Urban II at the end of the 11th century, they were aimed at recapturing the Holy Land from Muslim rule. The Crusades brought the papacy into a new era of military and political activity and further expanded the Pope's influence. And who could overlook Pope Innocent III? Under his reign, the papacy reached the height of its power. He claimed supremacy over all of Europe's kings and queens, even going so far as to organize the Fourth Crusade, which unfortunately led to the sack of Constantinople, a Christian city. These key events and figures of the medieval papacy illustrate how the office of the Pope evolved from a primarily spiritual role to a position of significant political power. They also highlight the Church's role in shaping the course of history. In the midst of chaos and change, the papacy stood as a beacon of stability and faith. And as we'll see in the coming scenes, this influence would continue to evolve and adapt to the times, leaving a profound mark on the world as we know it today. A new era dawned on Europe, a time of rebirth and rediscovery, the Renaissance. The papacy, the spiritual heart of the Catholic Church, found itself at the epicenter of this cultural explosion. During this period, popes were not only spiritual leaders but also influential patrons of the arts and sciences. Their fervor for humanist learning and classical culture would shape the Renaissance and leave an indelible mark on the era. They commissioned works from artists like Michelangelo and Raphael, transforming Rome into a vibrant center of creativity and intellectual pursuit. Among the greatest architectural feats of this time was the construction of St. Peter's Basilica. This grand project, initiated by Pope Julius II, was a testament to the Church's wealth and power. It was a beacon of the Renaissance, embodying the period's renewed appreciation for classical beauty and architectural grandeur. But the Renaissance was not just a time of cultural flourishing. It was also a period of controversy and corruption within the Church. Many popes of the Renaissance were known more for their worldly pursuits than their spiritual duties. They were embroiled in political intrigue, nepotism, and scandal. This was the era of the notorious Borgia Pope, Alexander VI, whose reign was marked by corruption, scandal, and decadence. These controversies did not go unnoticed. The moral decay of the Church and the perceived corruption of the papacy sparked widespread discontent. This growing disillusionment would eventually lead to one of the most significant religious upheavals in history, the Protestant Reformation. The Renaissance popes, then, were a study in contrasts. They were patrons of an extraordinary cultural revival, yet their actions also sowed the seeds of religious dissent and upheaval. They were figures of immense power and influence, yet their worldly indulgences often overshadowed their spiritual responsibilities. In a time of great progress, the papacy was both a patron and a pariah. In the wake of the Reformation and the Enlightenment, the papacy found itself at a crossroads. As the world began to modernize, the papacy faced an array of challenges and changes. In the mid-19th century, one of the most significant transformations occurred with the loss of the Papal States. This marked the end of the Pope's temporal power, confining his influence to spiritual matters. Yet this did not diminish the papacy's significance. Rather, it shifted the focus towards an emphasis on spiritual leadership and the unification of Christians worldwide. This led to a move towards ecumenism, a principle that promotes cooperation and unity among different Christian denominations. The papacy began to see its role not as a ruler but as a shepherd, guiding the faithful and promoting peace and understanding among different faiths. Two popes stand out in the modern era for their unique roles and contributions. Pope John Paul II, reigning from 1978 to 2005, was instrumental in inspiring change. He was the first non-Italian pope in over 400 years, a charismatic leader who used his role to promote human rights and denounce totalitarian regimes. His papacy was marked by a series of historic apologies for past wrongs committed by the Church, setting a precedent for humility and accountability. Then came Pope Francis, the first Jesuit pope, the first from the Americas, and the first from the Southern Hemisphere. Since his election in 2013, Pope Francis has been a powerful voice for the marginalized and the poor. He has emphasized the Church's duty to care for the environment and has been open to discussions on issues previously considered taboo, such as the role of women in the Church and the acceptance of the LGBTQ+ community. In a rapidly changing world, the papacy has sought to strike a balance between tradition and progress. The challenges and changes of the modern era have not weakened the papacy, but rather have shaped it, allowing it to evolve and adapt to the needs of an ever-changing global community. Today, the papacy stands as a symbol of unity for over 1 billion Catholics around the globe. The Pope, as the Bishop of Rome and the spiritual leader of the Catholic Church, wields considerable influence both within the Church and in the wider world. The papacy in the contemporary world is marked by a global presence. Recent popes have traveled extensively, visiting countries across the globe and reaching out to the faithful in ways that would have been unimaginable in earlier centuries. From Latin America to Africa, from Asia to Europe, the Pope's travels underscore the global reach and the universal message of the Catholic Church. In addition to these travels, the papacy has also made a significant push for interfaith dialogue. The Pope has met with leaders of other religions, fostering mutual understanding and promoting peace. This commitment to dialogue reflects the Pope's role as a bridge builder, a pontifex, and underscores the Church's belief in the inherent dignity of all people, regardless of their faith. But the influence of the papacy extends beyond interfaith dialogue. The Pope also takes a stance on a wide range of social and moral issues, providing guidance to Catholics around the world. From issues of poverty and inequality to questions of bioethics and the environment, the Pope's words shape the moral landscape, challenging us to live out our faith in a complex and often challenging world. The papacy today, then, is not confined to the Vatican or even to Italy. It is a global institution with a global reach and a global message. The Pope is not just a spiritual leader, but a moral voice speaking out on the issues that matter most. From its humble beginnings to its global reach, the story of the papacy is a testament to the enduring power of faith. Our journey through the annals of papal history brings us to the present day, where we've traced the origins of the papacy from its humble beginnings, through the corridors of power during the Middle Ages, and into the flowering of the Renaissance. We've seen how the popes not only witnessed but actively shaped the course of history, wielding considerable influence in both spiritual and temporal affairs. We've also navigated the tumultuous waters of the modern era, where the papacy faced and continues to face challenges never before imagined, from political upheavals to scientific revolutions. And here we are in the present day, where the papacy still holds a unique place in the world, as a beacon of faith for millions and a symbol of enduring tradition amidst constant change. The history of the papacy is a complex tapestry woven with threads of faith, power, conflict, and redemption. It is a story that continues to unfold, shaping and being shaped by the course of human history.